Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and I'm very pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. In the fast-paced world of hospitality, we all know that handling financial transactions is a core part of the job. But what happens when a transaction is high risk? That's what we're going to break down today so you can navigate these moments with absolute confidence and professionalism.
Look, at some point in your career, you're gonna face these situations. It's inevitable. Whether it's a huge payment, a disputed charge, or a card that just keeps getting rejected, these are the moments that really test your skills. And how you handle them comes down to three key things: calm judgment, knowing your hotel's policy inside and out, and communicating with confidence.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll get clear on what a high-risk transaction actually is. Then we'll get into how to spot the red flags. After that, we'll talk about using hotel policy as your guide, how to communicate when the pressure is on, and finally, what to do to resolve the situation and when it's time to escalate.
Okay, first things first, what are we really dealing with here? You have to understand that a high-risk transaction isn't just about the money. It's a critical moment that can seriously impact a guest's entire experience with your hotel.
And that's the key, right there. It's any financial interaction that could damage either the hotel's bottom line or, just as importantly, your relationship with that guest. It's not just about fraud, it's about any potential threat.
And this is the delicate balance you have to strike every single time. Your job is to be a guardian of the hotel's assets, for sure, but you also have to be an ambassador of its hospitality. Mastering this dual role, well, that's what separates a good cashier from a truly great one. Which brings us right to our next topic, how to spot the warning signs. This is all about developing a sharp sense of professional vigilance. And this is a super important distinction to make. We are not here to be detectives. We're not here to view our guests with distrust. Our job is to be responsible stewards of the hotel's operations. This mindset is what lets you stay alert without ever being accusatory. Now, take a look at these. The interesting thing is, a single one of these might not be a big deal at all, but when you see a combination, let's say a guest wants to pay a very large bill with several different cards and then seems reluctant to show their ID, that should immediately signal to you that it's time to follow procedure to the letter. So you spot a red flag. What's your first move? It's not to improvise. It's to turn to your single most powerful tool, the hotel policy.
And this slide really breaks down why that's so crucial. If you just rely on your personal feelings or gut instinct, you can end up being inconsistent, and that's what creates conflict. But when you lean on hotel policy, you're being fair and consistent. You're treating every guest the same, and that protects you, it protects the hotel, and it prevents arguments before they even start. This is a perfect example of how to communicate using policy. Notice the phrasing. It's not, "I need you to pay a deposit." It's, "This policy applies to all our guests." That simple shift takes the personal element out of it and turns a potential argument into just a statement of standard procedure. All right, so now we're getting to the heart of it, your communication. This is where you can take a really tense moment and turn it into a masterclass in true hospitality. Okay, picture this. A guest is disputing a charge. Your first and most important job is to just listen. Let them explain their side completely without cutting them off. A lot of the time, just feeling heard is enough to bring the tension way down. Only after they're done do you calmly walk them through the charges, pointing to the paperwork, and always being ready to admit and fix any mistakes that might be on your end. Now, when a credit card gets declined, it's almost never the guest's fault. In those moments, your mindset has to shift. You're not enforcing a rule anymore, you're helping them solve a problem. That's the key to keeping things positive. Just look at these examples. By explaining that an international block is just a common security measure that their bank does, you're putting yourself on their side. You're framing it as a mutual problem to solve together. You're working with them by offering alternatives, not putting up roadblocks. But what happens when you've done everything right, you've followed the policy, you've communicated perfectly, and the situation still isn't getting resolved? That's when we have to talk about escalation. And this is so important to understand. Calling a supervisor is not a failure. It is a planned professional response. If a guest becomes abusive, or if you feel unsafe for any reason at all, your priority is no longer the transaction, it's safety. Involving a manager or security is the correct and responsible thing to do.
Never, ever forget this. It's so easy to get pulled into a debate, to want to prove you're right, but that's not your job. Your role is to state the facts, represent the policy, and stay calm. You might win the argument,
but you'll almost always lose the guest relationship.
So, at the end of the day, this is what it all comes down to. It's a blend. You need the confidence to communicate clearly, the empathy to see it from the guest's perspective, the vigilance to protect the hotel, and the discipline to follow the rules. That combination is the hallmark of a true hospitality professional.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question to think about. Every high-risk transaction is a test, yes, but it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to show your competence, to build trust with a guest through transparency, and to prove that even in a tough situation, your hotel operates with integrity and professionalism. Thank you.